Hello and welcome to Movie Mayhem here at Suspiria Works Cinema, where we watch all the movies. Today we've got another random movie review of Hansel and Gretel Witch Hunters. Watched this on a stream, so no media review, but I wanted to touch on the movie, mostly because it's directed by Tommy Wirkola, who also directed the excellent Dead Snow. He's Norwegian. Dead Snow is a Norwegian Nazi zombie cabin in the woods movie, which is fairly brilliant. I highly recommend it. This brings us to his Hollywood debut, Hansel and Gretel Witch Hunters. Now this came out right around the time of Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter, kind of hopping on that same bandwagon. I guess the whole fairy tale thing is kind of a thing now. Got the Jack the Giant Slayer, and other titles like that. Hansel and Gretel has Jeremy Renner as Hansel and Gemma Arterton as Gretel. And if you've seen the trailers, you probably have an idea of what the film is. It's loosely based on the old fairy tale, kind of starting out in the beginning, and through this series of events of them meeting a witch and trying to fatten up Hansel, Gretel pushes the witch into the fire, and thus is born the Witch Hunters. I watched the unrated version of this movie, and there's a lot of problems in that version. Usually I go with a director's cut versus any theatrical release because, in my opinion, in all films, the director is the master of the movie. If the movie sucks and it's the director's cut, you know who to blame. It's not some studio exec butchering the movie and giving you a piece of junk. This is not a director's cut, it is unrated. And it seems very schizophrenic. The movie is very brightly lit, very fairy tale-ish, but the level of gore is extreme in certain scenes, and then very timid in others. So I'm not sure if it was shot originally with an R or a hard R rating intended and then cut down. I believe in the theater it was released as an R. At any rate, the gore is kind of cool, but it's inconsistent with the different kills. And the other problem is the overuse of the F-bomb. I don't really care. I mean, I can watch any Tarantino movie or whatever with foul language, but it doesn't make any sense in the context. They're just constantly saying it as if to get the unrated rating. It's a little, again, schizophrenic. You got a lot of nice action, some very good special effects, some cool fight scenes. There's some really cool weaponry, which is another issue. The movie is definitely set in an olden time, maybe Renaissance-ish, not quite ever made clear. Post-Renaissance, witch burning exists, but the weaponry is odd. The witch hunters somehow have access to extremely high-tech weapons, but that's never explained why. Are they building them? They're not magical, because at one point we were seeing where they bless the weapons. So it's a little, it kind of puts you out of the realm of disbelief at a certain point. It's hard to review the movie, and I debated doing a review of it or not, and the more I thought about it in the movie, the more certain parts frustrated me. Famke Janssen plays the main bad witch. That's really not a spoiler, it's pretty obvious. And when she's in her normal guise, she looks menacing and evil, and I like the witch character. But for some reason, they decided that witches in this world have to look like rotting, white-faced, cracked monsters, and the makeup it's crap. It's terrible prosthetics, I guess. It's not CGI, it's just bad makeup. It looks cheap. and old. It looks like something you'd see in a low-budget, off-Broadway type of production. Certainly not in a big-budget CGI fest type of movie. And it kills the eeriness of the witches. It makes them, instead of menacing, which Famke pulls off really well, she's kind of scary. As soon as you put the makeup on her, I kind of wanted to snicker rather than be afraid. So, you've got weak villains. I mean, this is meant to be an action fest, a popcorn movie, so I'm not going to harp on the inconsistencies of the plot, which there are plenty of. A lot of the problems, the movie flows like a video game. They fight a monster, then they fight a different monster. They do meet a troll, which is a pretty cool character. Not very well developed, very predictable. He looks cool. The CGI on him is actually great. Eventually, Hansel and Gretel are on the hunt for various witches. There's a point of betrayal, you gotta get through the storyline, but it's very typical. Eventually, in the end, they have to confront the big society of witches. Now, the witches are trying to find an immunity to fire, so they can't be burned, because you kill a witch by burning them. Which, great idea, except they also show us that witches can be killed other ways too, so I'm not really sure what immunity to fire is going to do. They're going down a path like vampires getting immunity to sunlight, and therefore they'd be able to rule the world. But in this case, they clearly show us that the witches can die through any method, so why they need immunity to fire, I don't know. Now, one of the kind of gruesome things is, in order to get immunity to fire, they have to sacrifice children, which they almost show a scene of that, which is fairly brutal. That was kind of cool. I like the darker aspect that they're going with, but again, the schizophrenia of the film, it borders between a dark horror movie and then light, happy Wizard of Oz, and not even Raimi's dark Wizard of Oz. I mean, happy Wizard of Oz kind of thing. So it's confusing. So the crux of the film is them being able to become immune to fire, which, for whatever reason, they want to do. And the lead witch, who of course is the only one who can appear human, again, that means you're stuck with a bunch of strange-looking witches. And when they all gather, there's dozens of them gathering. Every one of them looks completely different. Perfect for each one being the boss of a different level of a video game. Why do they look so strange? What's the point of that? I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. It comes off as very silly and very... We've got a lot of CGI in our budget, let's try to make cool monsters. Of course, as can be expected, the good guys are going to, save the day. If that's a spoiler, then I'm sorry. I really like Jeremy Renner, and that's why I wanted to see the movie. And he's fine in it. He is cool, but it just seems like he's playing a generic action guy role. He's kind of getting typecast in that, which, he was cool in the Bourne movie. He's great as Hawkeye, but he's got a broader scope of talent, so I'm not sure if he's getting obsessed with paychecks and taking the big action movies and it's going to doom him to a life of those kind or not. But, he was still cool in it. The action scenes are well done. The fighting scenes are well done. It's a little strange. This not being a Chinese-produced film, I find it weird that all the witches kind of know martial arts. It came off a little strange. And not just one of them, all of them fought like that. So it was a little... Again, it pulled me out of the world that they were trying to create. I wanted more of a fairy tale world. Maybe if they had just some of those pieces in there, not all of them together, it wouldn't have been as bad. But with all the guns, the kung fu, the language, it just pulls me out of this fairy tale world that we were trying to... the fairy tale world that they were trying to create. And at the end, you've got a new team, which adds a couple characters. The troll and a pointless little boy character. The little boy character seems to me like some studio decision to add a kid to make it appeal to kids. But especially in the unrated version, you wouldn't want little kids seeing this movie. You know, if they make a sequel, it could be okay. I mean, so it comes down to basically, I would give the movie a nice 5 out of 10, which is the problem of doing a review. It's not bad, especially in the context of what it is. As a popcorn movie, it's not bad, but it's not good. It's just kind of there. If you like Famke, Gemma, or Jeremy, watch it for them. I mean, the effects are kind of cool, but the movie's just left me feeling really flat at the end. Kind of like nothing important happened. It was disappointing. I definitely preferred Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter in that type of genre where they're taking something old and kind of sprucing it up. So I don't recommend it unless you're a hardcore fan of any of the actors in it. CGI is interesting. Thank you for watching. Be sure to like the video, share it, subscribe to our channel, and be here next week when we review another movie here at Movie Mayhem.